In this chapter, you are going to learn about communication systems and network. Nowadays, it is safe to say that we live in a truly connected society. We can communicate with other people worldwide. Our email messages are delivered to handheld devices. Cars access the internet to receive driving instructions and solve mechanical problems. Even household appliances can connect to the internet and be remotely controlled. Now, how is that possible? Well, all these are possible because computers are communicating with each other. So, in this chapter, we will focus on the communication system that support computer communications. So what you are going to learn from this chapter, at the end of this chapter, you should be able to define communication system. You'll be able to explain all the elements of any communication system. You will also be able to differentiate between physical and wireless communications channel. And beside that, you'll be able to identify why modem is needed in any communication system. Then you'll be able to explain what does it mean by bandwidth and also broadband. And the other thing that you'll be able to learn will be the network protocol, which will be TCP/IP. Computer communication is the process of sharing data, programs, and information between two or more computers. In the picture here, you can see an example of how computers communicate. So what are examples of computer communications? Texting. For example, provide text communication between individuals using short electronic messages, email, even video conferencing. So communication system, as you can see in this picture, are electronic system that transmit data from one location to another, whether wired or wireless. So every communication system should have four basic elements. As in this picture, you can see the four elements: sending and receiving devices, communication channels. You will learn about the detail of the channels later. Communication device or connection device. And the last one is data transmission specification. The first element of any communication system will be sending device and receiving device. So what are examples of sending and receiving device? So you can see here, it can be laptop, it can be server, network printer, smartphone, GPS receiver, etc. So the purpose of this device will be to send. For example, let's say this is your computer, then you want to send your data to your friend's computer. So what will happen? So the data will be transmit out through the communication device and then reach the channel. So it will travel through this channel. Then what will happen next? It will reach the other side, and the other side, the computer here, will have its own communication device, and then from here, it will reach the computer. Then only your data can be read by your friend's computer. The second element of a communication system will be communication channel. So basically, communication channels are the transmission medium, or you can imagine like a place for data to travel from one end to another. So these channels actually carry the data. And then there are two categories for communication channels. It can be physical or wired connection. You will see later there are three types. And then it can also be wireless connection. And there are 8 technologies under wireless connection. Now let us look at physical or wired communication channel. Wired communications require a physical connection and are more common with desktop computers. The first example of wired channel is twisted pair. Twisted pair cable consists of pairs of copper wire that are twisted together. You can see in this picture here. For your information, both standard telephone lines and Ethernet cables use twisted pair. Ethernet cables are often used in networks and to connect a variety of components to the system unit. So pairs of copper wires here are insulated with plastic coatings. So you can see, and then if you want to compare the difference between phone cable and Ethernet cable, as you can see in this picture, Ethernet cable will have bigger size compared to phone cable. So in our computer lab, you can find Ethernet cable. So the Ethernet cable will be connected to the Ethernet port at the back of the system unit. The next example of wired channel is coaxial cable. Coaxial cable is a high-frequency transmission cable made of one solid thick copper wire that looks like this. It is used in computer network wiring and also cable TV service. Cable TV services are not available in Malaysia. But if you want to compare in terms of the transmission capacity between twisted pair and coaxial cable has over 80 times the transmission capacity of twisted pair. Fiber optic cable transmit data as pulses of light through tiny tube of glass. This is how it looks like. Bundle of fibers or thread made of glass tubes. The data transmission speeds of fiber optic cables are incredible. Recently, speeds of 1 petabit per second. A petabit is 1 million gigabits. So compared to coaxial cable, it is lighter, faster, and are more reliable at transmitting data. How data is transmitted using fiber optic cable? It transmits data using light beam. That's why it is very fast. Fiber optic cable is rapidly replacing twisted pair cable telephone lines. It is used in high-speed communication system and also long-distance connection. This table here compares the 3 wired connection that you have seen earlier. So let us see at them again. The first one, twisted pair cable. The transmission speed of twisted pair cable will be up to 10 gigabits per second. and the maximum length for the cable is up to 100 meter. Now, why people are still using twisted pair cable? Well, you can see at the characteristic here. Inexpensive, flexible, lightweight, easy to install, but the drawback is low bandwidth, meaning it is slower compared to the other connection. Now, what about coaxial cable? Coaxial cable is 80 times faster than twisted pair, and it can go up to 500 meter. But please bear in mind, the longer the cable is, the signal will be weak. So coaxial cable, as you can see here, is high bandwidth but are more expensive than twisted pair, and it is also difficult to install. What about the last one? Fiber optics cable. So you can see the speed here. 26,000 times faster than twisted pair. And the coverage is higher. It can go up to 80 kilometer. So let's look at the characteristic. Very high bandwidth. Almost no electronic magnetic interference. Most expensive. Almost no electromagnetic interference. Most expensive and more care needed when you are installing this fiber optics cable. Now why? If you still remember, it is made of glass. Okay, so in the next video, you will see the wireless channels.